Alright, hello everyone and welcome to another season of the AOR GT3 leagues on Project Cars 2. This is PC Tier 1. We have 5 tiers of GT3 leagues on the PC platform alone for this season. Several more even on the PlayStation 4 and Xbox One as well. But we are here focused on the top drivers on the PC platform for the start of Season 10 of this wonderful long-running AOR league. I'm Fizzy, and I will be taking will be one of your commentators for the 10-round season that we are about to embark on. And joining me in the commentary box once again will be the king of all kings. It is King-Kodiak.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, mothers, fathers, daughters, sons, brothers, and sisters. It is indeed Season 10. Many races we've had under the Project Cars banner, and this season is set to be a cracker. So there's a lot of changes that need to be summarized as we are coming up to 6.5 minutes remaining in the qualifying session you see ahead of you. So Mr. Fizzy, care to take us through them?
Yes, so obviously as usual there's a few little things being changed up between each season in this league. So there's a few interesting changes. Kind of obviously, first of all, the calendar has changed. We got 10 completely different tracks from last season on the calendar for this for Season 10. I will not go through all of them now, but you will see them later at some point in the broadcast, I'm sure. So, starting off obviously here at Sonoma, which is one of my personal favorite tracks in the history of this league. I say I had 2 of my best races around here, but enough about that. Carrying on, there will be some special races, a couple of races this season with different formats to what we're used to. So, obviously, normally races such as this one, the normal races will be 60 minutes long, as we have been used to from the last few seasons. However, round 3 and round 7 will be special races, which are 1 hour and 30 minutes long. And what makes them even more special is that they will not have a qualifying, they will have a grid order based on a reverse championship grid. So the championship order going into round 3 and into round 7 will have a reverse grid order for those races. And that I'm definitely looking forward to.
You and me both.
That should be either a lot of carnage or a lot of fantastic racing, or probably a bit of both. So, carrying on, another important thing, of course, is that a certain car that tended to dominate the league last season has been banned. The Ferrari 488 GT3 is no longer seen on the grid. So every car that used to drive the Ferrari have been forced to pick one of the other ones. So we'll come back to exactly what the car spread is at the moment. But yeah, it's definitely going to be interesting to see how the lack of the Ferrari will shake things up, both in terms of the variety of cars in the grid, but also in terms of the performance between the drivers. Finally, slightly smaller change. Qualifying has been reduced from 50 minutes to 10 minutes, which is why this qualifying session we're in right now is shorter as well, which means more pressure on the drivers to get that perfect lap in. But
and very, very busy.
Yes, exactly. Very, very busy. And we are already, because of that, over halfway through the qualifying session. Only 4 minutes to go. So, KK, what's the status out on track?
We have got, at the top is currently Villalobos in the... I have to get used to who's in what. He's actually in the Z4. We did have representation of the Z4 in Season 9, I believe. Viasan Noah, if I recall, was one of the Z4s, but only 2 of them. Second, just jumped up to there by 200 a second, is the Heidi in the second BMW Z4. Third is TX3 Storm. Seen him a few times in the Endurance League. He's in the Audis. The Audis do seem to have a decent representation, but is by no means dominating. Fourth is our Season 9 dominator in the former Jardier. He was probably really lamenting the lack of Ferrari, but doing his best in the Audi. The next one down is Fab Iceman. He too was in a Ferrari. He finds himself in one of the Porsches. A brilliantly lime green livery. Next up is the lead Mercedes, Leon the Sick One in 6th. Popsu is in the next Audi in 7th position. Johan returns to us. He is too in the Audi. Zenny, he's promoted from Tier 2. He's also in an Audi, just been knocked down actually to 10th position by Speed Demon. That's not a name I'm familiar with, but he too rises in the Audi. We do have a smattering of other cars throughout the list. Was there any other changes you wanted to go through at the moment?
No, those were the main ones really that we need to focus on, so I'm sure we'll...
There's the Lambo! The lead Lambo, I believe.
Oh,
anyway,
yes.
at the moment. It is ironic. Our Tier 2 champion from last season, the champion tends to get automatically raised up into the next tier. And ironic, actually did so in the Renault last time around. Zal has just jumped up to 11th, I believe, in that green Porsche. Who else do we have? Two Desert Pack returns to us. He too is in the Audi. Dinder S. That's a name I've commented before. I haven't seen him for a while. He's in the Mercedes.
Yeah.
Nagram. Also, Lambert. Wow, that's a sliding Audi in the foreground there. Nagram is also in the rainbow-coloured Lambo. Now, that's a name I'm not familiar with. One of the TX3 squad. Gyubis. Not sure how you pronounce that exactly, but I'm going to go with Gyubis. In 16th, also in the Audi, Mr. Van Orman is returning to us in the ACR liveried Audi. He's just crossing the line. We'll just see if he's going to improve from that 18th spot. He does. He jumps up to 11th position. Nagram's in the pits. Oh, ouch. That is the Hunter. Also in the Lamborghini, finding the wall at a pretty decent pace. Oh, and so did Gyubis in his Audi. There is Scott in the blue Mercedes, just coming off of that long left-hander, turn 6. At Alexis is also with us. There he is. Also, Lamborghini. We didn't see that livery much last season. He just jumped up to 12. Nesterowicz. He's jumped from Audi. He was Audi last season. He's jumped to Lambo. Look, oh, that is a beautiful livery. Not at all biased. That's a beautiful glass. Steve in 22nd position in one of the blue Porsches. Firefly is in the nice black liveried Merc. Nick Mido, he was a Lambo runner. He's actually in the Sol McLaren that is out there. Berserker, he's also in a Renault. So the championship steed from Tier 2 last time in 25th. And Bo, 2001 in the white Mercedes, is running along now. Storm has it whilst going through all those. He's taken the pole spot. 128.038, 2/10 ahead of Villa-Lobos. We have less than 30 seconds to go, and Villa-Lobos and Jardier have jumped back to the pits. So our Season 3 champion will start no higher than 3rd.
Wow, this is very interesting. Yeah, Jardier, the dominant reigning champion. He won most of the races last season, and yes, having to start on the second row of the grid at the moment. Storm looking very, very solid. He obviously making his debut in the GT3 leagues. I believe he's raced in the endurance leagues before. So yeah, very impressive for him for taking what looks like pole position, but it's very close. 3/10 between the top 5. Then a bit of a gap down to Fab Iceman, who we know from last season as well. But,
it's such a bumpy circuit there, so we were on board with our current pole sitter TX3 Storm in the Audi, and yeah, it's so bumpy, it's so easy to get a corner wrong. This long left-hander, slightly awkward camber as well on that 180-degree left-hander. It's really easy to throw that off into the dust. Over the crest then, blind apex for turn 7, especially as it's actually the early hours of the morning. At the moment, the time of qualifying, then it's technically 7A. It's that's how it's listed on my map, at least. Then this twisty section is simply deemed 8 and 8A for reasons only known to.
It's ridiculous.
It is. Then the long flat left-hander of 9 into the then quick flick of turn 10. A few cars ahead of him that shouldn't then make too much of a difference. Then it is the down through the gears, the heavy hairpin of turn 11, or heavy braking for the hairpin of turn 11. Back on the gas once more. He's staying close to the apex with the shortest run to the line through turn 12, and that is a lap of this great circuit. Didn't improve in his time, but remains in pole nonetheless.
Nice one. Yes, very interesting stuff. Storm actually the only car on track at the moment, it seems. After having taken that pole, so there's a little bit of a wait now while the qualifying session ends and before the race gets underway. But yeah, what a grid. 2 debutants, I believe, in the top 2 then on the front row of the grid. So yeah, it's impossible to say how this race is going to pan out, but I'd like to see new drivers come in and challenge the established force that we have come to expect to see up there, such as Jardier from last season. So here we have the confirmed qualifying results for the first round of Season 10 in the PC T1 League of on GT3. So Storm and pole ahead of Villa-Lobos Then Jadier, the reigning champion, there in third. Heidi, another debutant, in fourth, and another debutant in fifth with Speed Demon. So top 5 with 4 out of 5 debutants there. Then Fab Iceman ahead of Popsu, the man who was the main challenger for Jadier last season. He'll be starting 7th. Then you had Yuan, and I was too slow to see the rest, but we can see them still on the left-hand side of the screen here. So we've basically gone through most of them already, but yeah, Yuan, Leon, and Ironic, the new coordinator for the league, rounding out the top 10.
He does indeed. 4 of the top 10 are part of the TX3 squad, so they're getting a very good representation here as well. As a few ACRs, of course, in Jardier, Mr. Van Orman, his teammate in 15th. There he is, running the Team ACR coloured Audis. What I like as well is the spread of cars that we've got. I mean, we had half the field in Ferraris last time around, and it was, shall we say, rather put to good use last time around, I think it's fair to say. But that's what's on second, the little Z4. It didn't get a lot of love the last couple of seasons, the Z4, and Villalobos has gone and stuck that car on the front row. Jardier 3, De Heidi in 4 in the second Z4 as well. So yeah, I am really looking forward to this, and that's a very brightly coloured Porsche. A couple of the Porsches, I think it is the green liveried one, is actually the endurance version of the Porsche. Absolutely no difference whatsoever except for the livery range. So that's the only... The endurance is just the livery is usually associated towards endurance racing. There's no physical difference in the car.
Certainly. Yeah, we haven't really mentioned the teams. Obviously, a lot of the drivers will have formed teams for the team championship as well. We'll get through that a bit more further into the season. But what I want to quickly mention is the spread of different cars on the grid. So now with the Ferrari banned for this season, basically to see how it goes. Obviously, a lot of sort of complaints about that being a little bit OP, just because it's such a good all-rounder. So what the field looks like now is that the Audi R8 LMS car has turned into the favored choice. 10 Audis on the grid out of the 26 main drivers in the league. As we're hearing the lights actually going out, but as per usual, the cars are stationary on the grid in awaitance, if that's a word, of the manual rolling start. So Storm leading the field away for the formation lap. But yeah, so 10 Audis on the grid. Then the second most picked car is the Lamborghini, which makes me very happy indeed, with 5. Looks beautiful in my opinion. Then 4 Mercedes AMGs, 3 Porsches, 2 BMW Z4s, 1 Renault as we saw, and also a McLaren, which is also good to see back on the grid.
Yeah, Nick Meadows running the Sol McLaren this time. There he is, starts this race in 23rd. One also change for this season is the mandatory pit stop.
Oh, yes.
So it is required that the drivers come in between laps 3 and, in this case, 35. So it is, they're doing the formation lap, which counts as lap 1 out of 40 for this race, and then they have to do 1 complete racing lap, and from that point on, the pit lane is open to them for the mandatory stop. Now, they can come in before then, but it won't count. They will have to come in again to serve the mandatory stop. They don't have to do anything. They don't have to take fuel. They don't have to take tyres. They just have to get there and stop for the mandatory stop to have taken effect. They also cannot serve the mandatory pit stop after within 5 laps of the finish of the race, so lap 36 onwards for this particular race. So that is another new element that should add quite an interesting twist to strategy. If you've got some damage on the car, you might seek to get that dealt with quickly, or you may simply choose to run with it depending on how you feel about the car. You go to choose to go long, leave the pit stop till very, very late. We will see. I genuinely have no idea what the drivers are going to do with that.
Yeah, it'd be interesting. Obviously, as you say, they could just get the tires on to go to the end. They could fill the car up full with fuel to go to the end and just do the short little stop in the box, as you mentioned. But it'd be interesting as well to see if any drivers chooses to do different things. Obviously now they're going into pit lane anyway, so they might as well maybe change tires if actually tire wear is a problem. But obviously last season it wasn't really, because everyone decided to not stop unless they got damaged. But either way, that'll be an interesting one. The race now, though, is underway for round 1 of Season 10. Storm leading the field away from pole position here. going up the hill through the long left-hander and then braking hard into turn 2. No contact at the front so far. Jardier, the reigning champion, hanging on to that third place position where he started, just ahead of Speed Demon. It was actually moved from 5th up to 4th, ahead of De Heidi, who's dropped down to 6th actually. Fab Iceman as well has gone past him. So De Heidi dropping a couple of spots, side by side there between the Z4 and the Porsche. That's De Heidi with Fab Iceman actually. Iceman though on the inside into this long left-hander. Going downhill, he's gone a little bit wide as he can. De Heidi cut underneath. Ooh, Fab Iceman nearly turning back down on him. I think De Heidi backed out of it because he goes a little bit scared of that Porsche coming towards the front of his car. But so far so good for the guys at the front.
Yeah, Storm getting a decent lead at the front, nearly 2 seconds already. And you saw how the tail of that Porsche just did not want to stick, which is really not what you want on a semi-off-camber hairpin. I'll try and get my words properly. Semi-off-camber hairpin turn. And we saw the tail really wagging on that Porsche of Iceman. There's Speed Demon keeping Jardier true and honest. Villalobos is the car ahead in the Z4. That's the Porsche again. That's Fab Iceman having a look. Get to the chase cam, but doesn't make a move on Speed Demon just yet. Of course, this is the part of the season where we have to get used to who's in what. We get used to it by about 2 rounds left before the end of the season. So it's a lot of, oh, is this person? Oh, no, it isn't. So they come streaming around, and we have someone in the pits already. Oh, that's a reshaped Leon. Now he, of course, as you can see, he has come in. He's decided he doesn't want to wait until the mandatory pit stop window. He will have to come in again to serve that, but that's a very ugly looking Mercedes. But Berserker in the Renault is on the back of the pack, so it is only Leon that's suffered a first lap issue at the moment.
Certainly, Leon having a bad start of the season, just like it ended the previous season, really. After he had that bizarre change to the Cadillac, taking away all his points, and then he didn't score a single point after that. But anyway, that's not the way Leon would have wanted to start. He's only a reserve for this season, has to be said. He's not one of the 26 main drivers for season 10. But either way, you don't come into a race hoping to go into the pits at the end of the first lap, that's for sure. No. So, and of course that falls outside of that mandatory pit stop window as well. He would have needed to wait until the end of this lap if he wanted that pit stop to count towards that. So he still needs to go into the pits at the end, or at some point in the race. Still, let's see though if anyone wants to be cheeky and do a very, very early pit stop to get out of this big train and get some clear air for a while. And actually, there is a car going in. Yes, I thought that we might see someone try to do this, and De Heidi has taken a very interesting strategy choice there. A super early pit stop, and actually Bo as well. I can't remember where he started, but he was 15th as he entered the pit lane there. So
we have a few in actually. Nagram has come in the Lambo, along with Firefly in the Mercedes, and Nick Meadow in the McLaren. So quite a few people looking to either get out of the battles they're in or just get the pit stop out of the way so they don't then have to think about it. But a lot of people looking to carry out, and that's how quick the stop is. If you're not having to do anything, you saw Nick Meadow come to a stop. He's actually managed to get ahead of Nagram in the Lambo as well. So if you time it right, and as long as you don't actually mess up stopping on your marks, then you can make moves whilst in the pits. And you are crawling along. It's 36 miles an hour. Oh, that was a weird lag moment there from Nagram. Who's gone? We've lost him.
Yep.
Nagram is out. That was a very weird. And Yuhan's in there a long time, so he had probably some damage to deal with. You wouldn't be in there that long for fuel, so he didn't have a good second lap, it would seem. And now he's away towards the 10 and the field. Of course, Leon. There's the reshaped Mercedes. So not gone well for him. Jardier is not settling into a kind of rhythm that we used to see him in last season, where you saw him kind of get to the front and leg it. No such luxury this time.
Yeah. So this is interesting. So now obviously there's been 5 cars that have been through the pits. Well, 4 of them properly. Then obviously Leon and Ewan have been through for some damage issues. Nesterovich as well now.
I love that livery. such a beautiful car.
It has a nice flow to it, and it does look that Lamborghini even more aggressive as if it wasn't enough already. But yeah, obviously De Heidi now, he was in the big train. He will now clear air, but actually his problem is that he's not actually that far. He's only about 10 seconds off the back of the whole pack. So I mean, he could start catching up to slower cars, like quicker than he really would have wanted it, I think. But we have to keep an eye on that. Let's go back to the guys that are battling at the front still. I think some close battles. Yeah, Jardia is hanging on to the back of what was his name again?
Villalobos.
Villalobos, yes, indeed. But Storm, though, look at the way he has pulled away.
Yeah.
4 seconds between Storm and Villalobos for second and first, with the reigning champion stuck behind second.
Yeah, he was getting into the 28s as well with Storm, so he is absolutely flying at the front at the moment. Speed Demon's actually catching the back of Jardier as well. So that battling that Jardier finds himself in is not helping his cause at all. Speed Demon is really closing in there as Popsu, 1 and a bit seconds down from Speed Demon, so he's right with that, but he brings out with him, you just seen that. There he is in the bright green Porsche, who's got the blue Merc of Scott right with him as well. A little bit further back is Zenny in the multicolored Audi with the Lexus in the lead Lamborghini at the moment. Of course, a lot of people still having to do their stops. Another couple come in. It is Fab Iceman in one of the Porsches, along with 2 Desert Pack. Looking at the livery, I thought he'd actually had damage on the front. It's actually... Oh, he's missed his mark. He'd actually...
Is that not damage? What is going on here?
I don't know what happened with 2 Desert Pack. Oh, I think... No, what he did, he served the pit stop but went backwards instead. So he did actually come to a stop, and then somebody else is actually Berserker, then occupied the same pit space. So that looked a little bit odd for us, but he did actually serve that stop. Ironic has got himself a penalty. He's going to have a 2-second penalty, so he's pushed the track limits a little bit too hard, which is so easy to do on this particular track. But the Tier 2 champion finds himself midfield, 11th position. The qualified 10th, so he's having a pretty decent run so far on the back of Valorman. And all these drivers, vast majority of these drivers we've seen in Tier 1 last season around, or we've seen in the top tier of endurance racing. There's a lot of very good drivers here. Well, they're all particularly good for being in the Tier 1 in the first place, to be fair. But yeah, I think these guys are going to have a lot of work to do all season long. I don't think we're going to see anybody just completely leg it into the distance. Oh, Zenny's got his name on the penalty board now. That's 2 seconds for him. Oh, keep it within the track limits, guys.
Certainly. One thing that's been pointed out in the chat, which is potentially interesting, is that, it could be the case that Storm was running superb pace out in front of them, and maybe he's taking less fuel on board. And
that thought did occur to me as well.
Yeah, and maybe he's, taking the thought that, if he's got clear air, let's get a light car, just try to pull a gap with little fuel on board, and hope you can make up, enough to still keep that, well, not keep the same gap, but at least stay ahead, despite adding fuel to the pit stop. So could be a thing.
Yeah, absolutely. Obviously, this is custom setups. It's not default setup league, so you are allowed to change any particular setting you so choose to. So if he's opted to run a lighter car, and again, it is a mandatory stop. So we see Popsy get a little bit squirrely there on the exit of turn 7A. So it makes perfect sense. You do, of course, it does make you sit in the pits for longer, but if you've got that gap, if you've got a sufficient gap at the front, you never know. The thing, though, here in particular, the pit lane is very, very long. So you've got to rely on getting a pretty healthy gap if that's the game you're going to play. So we will see how it plays out for Storm.
Yeah, certainly will. So far, though, what we can actually see, not actually knowing whether the fuel loads are different, is that Storm is running fantastic pace out in front, still keeping a 4.5 second gap.
We can actually see that. I've just realised the fuel amount is actually listed on the speedo there. So, for instance, for Popsy, it's 78 litres, so he's pretty heavy. And we've seen that Storm's got 78 litres as well. So, Villalobos running 84. Looks like he's running similar fuel levels for certainly the top 5. So, the theory was certainly sound. It seems to be not what he's done.
Interesting. Villalobos had a little bit extra fuel, it seems, compared to the rest, actually, which was interesting.
He did, interesting.
But okay, that's good to know. So there's not too major fuel tactics going on. So I think on the face of it, you want as short a pit stop as possible, and I'm not really sure exactly how much difference a lighter car would make to the time, if it would have been possible to pull it off. But yeah, suddenly the drivers then seemingly choosing to not think like that and just go for
I think it would only really count if the pit lane was quite short. So, and here is very, very long. So you'd have to build up a monstrous gap to play that particular tactic off. We've still got quite a few battles going on. We, of course, have this battle 2nd to 5th. That is Villalobos leading the way of that pack in the Z4, with champion Jardier fending off Speed Demon in the next pair of Audis, with Popsu again in an Audi further back as Van Orman and Ironic both come into the pits in the Audi and Lambo respectively. Next battle is Adalexis and Zenny. That's for 8th position. That's what they're fighting for. Oh, we have another pitter. It is... Oh, it's Hunter. Hunter is coming in as well, and that was a very short stop for Van Orman, so he'll be able to resume without too much time lost there. And again, this highlights how long that pit lane is, because Hunter hasn't actually hit the pit stop yet. He's just about to.
Yeah.
There he goes. It looks like he had a bit of damage to deal with, so that's going to hold him up a little bit. Another battle we've got going on. Here it is. This is Steve in that lead Porsche. That's also been rearranged. Firefly, getting very sideways in the Mercedes. Then it's Fab Iceman that is side by side almost with Firefly as they come through the last few bends. There's Leon, so he had to take that early pit stop in the reshaped Mercedes. 2 Desert Pack and Berserker are pretty close as well in the Renault and Audi towards the back of the field. So as we saw last season, there's lots of fighting going on up and down the field, but this particular pack has been really closely fought. Oops, Popsu running a little bit wide there on the exit at turn 10. Nothing too bad though. But the problem there is you're at quite a high speed. If the car basically snatches on the gravel, you are straight into the tyre wall. You're never going to recover it. So he does have to be careful pushing that hard at that point.
Yeah, definitely. So, Popsu taking a very interesting line there into turn 2 there. He's gone far to the inside, but obviously not really an opportunity. I think he's lost time. I think he didn't really intend to do that.
No, that's exactly what I was going to say.
Exactly. So look at Speed Demon though. He's getting all over the back of Jardier. He wants to make an impression here in his debut race in the league. Just piling the pressure on the man that was so dominant in Season 9, Jardier. Obviously that was in a Ferrari. Whether sort of the Ferrari suited him more than the Audi does, or if these guys, these new guys, are actually this good to come straight in and challenge the reigning champion. That's certainly what it looks like at the moment. And Jardier's a bit sideways as well, off the apex there. He cuts you back nicely for the second apex in that double right-hander. And now coming through the sweepers once again. Second place down to 5th, very, very close together. But what I have noticed actually is the Heidi down in 12th position. The first one to pit. He's the only one from the very front group to make a pit stop so far in the race, and he's been running faster laps than the leader in the last few.
He has. Yes, last one was a 29.5, which was indeed quicker than Storm at the front. So 30.7 for Storm last time. So he's... What was that traffic he's catching up to? It is.
Already? Wow. Okay, so these are obviously pitted. It's not actually that weird because these have already pitted. That's some lag for that. Oh no!
2 Desert Pack lagged. He caught Fab Iceman as well. Fab Iceman's going backwards at the moment. He can't. Well, he wouldn't recommend he rejoins the track like that. Oh, that was a huge. I mean, 2 Desert Pack actually disappeared.
Yeah.
He's lost the back wing and a lot of damage on that Audi as well. That's not an ideal way of passing someone. Berserker is still on the back of Steve. That's for 22nd, 23rd. So yeah, I think the front guys were rather lucky not to be caught up in that. That rather happened right in front of Storm. So essentially that cleared itself before the next train of 4 cars came through.
Wow, that's such an unfortunate thing. Yeah, it did look like it was just some lag-related stuff there, because yeah, 2 Desert Pack just jumping around and disappearing for a bit for us as well. And Iceman, the unlucky victim of that particular situation, and he's now down to last place. To Desert Pack, second to last, obviously, apart from Nagrom, who is out of the race already, unfortunately. Yeah, so to Desert Pack hadn't pitted, right?
No,
I don't think so. Whereas Iceman, I believe, had.
Oh, we've lost one. It's Fab Iceman. We've lost Fab Iceman.
So that impact has been too much for him to handle, by the looks of it.
Yeah, I mean, he was when you're sent into the wall and then start rolling backwards towards the track, it doesn't lead you for a very. That's pretty much ruining your day. As T Desabak has made it back to the pits without a rear wing on that Audi, I suspect he's going to be in there for a while.
Certainly. So that's a shame for the Desabak. And look at this battle going on here at the bottom end of the top 10. Zenny driving along just behind Alexis and Zal, two drivers who did drive in Season 9, whereas Zenny did not. Zenny did, of course, drive in the Touring Car League that we had between the GT3 seasons, which we also broadcasted here on the AOR channel. Feel free to check that out if you haven't actually watched those when they happened. They are
so I still regret not being able to take part. I really wanted to take part in that, but alas, I had other commentary commitments that took me away from that, and didn't want to sign up only being able to take part in half the races, or knowing I could only take part in half the races. Of course, life gets in the way and what have you for other people, but I just, it was one of these things. Really wanted to do it, but sadly was not meant to be.
Yeah. But the point I was trying to make was that Zenny did actually well in that Touring Car League. He was one of the guys fighting for the championship going into the final round. He didn't quite get up there.
He won the last race, didn't he?
He did. Unfortunately, the second to last race, he sort of lost his contention for the championship. But
he was a
dominant
winner, I seem to remember.
Yeah, he was.
The last one. Yeah.
So he's definitely in no slouch, is Zenny, running in the top 10 at the moment, of course, with some of the guys further down having pitted, so we don't exactly know what the order is until the pits have been sorted out, to be honest, which is one of the interesting dynamics, as that was a Renault going slow.
Yes, the one and only Renault's Berserker, basically getting out of the way. Of course, he was under blue flags for the lead pack coming through.
That's his thing as well, obviously. If you are towards the back of the pack and you want to do your pit stop early, you are at risk of getting very quickly caught in this, caught by the leaders out in front, and you have to lose time just letting them through, which Berserker's obviously done there. So it's definitely a few different things to sort of consider when you decide whether or not you want to make your pit stop early in the race, or whether you want to stay out there and make the pit stop towards the end. The gap I'm monitoring though, the Heidi up to Storm. He's gained another 3 seconds, I think, since I last looked at the gap. It was 32 something before. Now it's 39.5 seconds from the Heidi up to the lead, having done a pit stop already.
That Z4 is really working well here. I mean, you've got to think.
It really is.
Yeah, the Heidi started third and Villalobos second. So yeah, the Z4 really seems very well suited here.
Absolutely, and I have first-hand experience of that, actually. It was in Season 2 and Season 3 on the first Project Cars game. I was driving the Z4, and my best races in both those seasons were at Sonoma.
Love the roar of that classic Z4 as well. Shall we have a look at where everybody is?
Yep.
Storm then is fighting his way through back markers. That is Yuhan. Yes, it's actually Yuhan and Firefly. They're fighting for position, and Yuhan has just through into 20th. That's very risky, especially with the damaged Audi, to do that on the outside of turn 6, but has managed to make it work. So Storm leads the way, 6.2 seconds over this pack, which Villalobos has been the driver of that particular train all race long. That contains Jardier, who's having a look on the inside of 7, but opts not to go for that move, although he has made this Z4 go a little bit wide. It's an opportunity for Jardier. Can he get on the inside? He can't get the drive, though. Well defended by the Z4. Well played. In there is Debutant, Speed Demon, or Tier 1 Debutant, we should say, in this particular league. In 4th position, having a great run. Popsu, we've seen what he can do. Who's the only other race winner last season, if memory serves. And he also got that half-point win at Road America.
Yeah, it was Popsu and Tidney actually got that win at
Tidney, yes,
Zolder, in that
yes.
super special raining conditions.
I screamed my head off of that. That was such a great race. Scott in the lead Mercedes, 6th position, just coming over the line with Zal in fairly short succession. At Alexis still chases him in the lead Lamborghini. Zenny with a penalty on the board, as we saw previously. Dinder S in the Merc in 10th position. Another debutant, TX3 Gubis, that's how I'm pronouncing it, in 11th. De Heidi in the next Z4. He's been flying since his pit stop. He is right on the back of the green Audi. And
to be honest, I would not be surprised if De Heidi is in second place after the rest of the front guys are pitted. If not even close to some.
Yeah, absolutely. We've just lost one, but I don't know who at this point in time. Hopefully that will become clear. Van Orman in 13th, a little bit, he's 18 seconds off the back of the charging Z4. A couple of seconds off of this man, Bo, in the white Mercedes. Tier 2 champion, Ironic, finds himself in 15th position in the Lamborghini. Nick Mido in the McLaren. 16th, fending off Nesterowicz in the next Lambo in 17th. See, Nesterowicz, when I say Audi, his Audi was black as well, so that's going to trip me up more than once. Speaking of the front runners coming in, Speed Demon has opted to do it now. He's the only one of that pack that has, interestingly, but he was right in the middle of that 4-car train at the front, so he's opted to bring his car in and get that done. The Hunter in the next Lamborghini, he finds himself in 18th. Leon, so he still has to do his mandatory pit stop, despite the fact he has been through already.
Yeah.
Dinder S also comes in. Quick stop for him.
What I want to see where Speederman is compared to De Heidi, because De Heidi was behind when he pitted. He's coming past now. He's surely going to be ahead. He's been running super fast laps, and here he goes. He's well ahead of Speed Demon. Of course, was just in that pack with Jardier, with Villalados, and with Popsu as well. So that means De Heidi has jumped all of them by running mostly in clean air after that early pit stop.
Wow. De Heidi, you can actually see, I've just brought the map up, you can see De Heidi on the top right hand corner. That's where he is, and that's where Speed Demon is. So that is, oh crikey, what's 6 seconds between the two. That's how much time De Heidi has managed to gain as De Heidi comes past one of the back markers, the blue Porsche. Johan in the red-white Audi. Berserker in the Renault continues along with Steve. That is the aforementioned blue Porsche. That's not looking very happy. And 2 Desert Pack we saw in that rather unusual backwards incident earlier on rounds out our competitors. Popsu is deciding to bring his car in as well on lap 16. We're still not even halfway through this race, and there's so much we don't know.
Yeah,
you can easily think, Steam's got this. Storm rather has got this and that. Steam, yes, the Steam game distribution thing has won the race. Yes, there you go. Confirmed. Adalexis has brought his Lambo in. A pretty quick stop then for the Audi. There is Adalexis in the Lambo just bringing his car to rest.
Yeah, where's Popsu going to be now compared to Speed Demon is another big question as well, because Popsu has responded to Speed Demon's going into the pits and just a lap after. Here he comes past the start finish line. Popsu is right on the exit, and he's passed. Yeah, he's well past. Well past.
Yeah. And Popsu's still not off the limiter. Now that's how long the pit lane is. He's only just come off the limiter now. So that is 7 odd seconds. 8 seconds indeed between the two.
Really slow in lap for Popsu, or he's been slow at some point in the pits, or he's actually changed tires or added some fuel.
Well, the fuel amount looks similar. I mean, it's at 50, just under 60 litres. So if he has taken fuel on, he won't have taken much. But again, we don't know. We don't know what they've tried to do. It looks like Ironic's on the back of a pretty big train here. And there you go. You can actually see the entire train coming through. That is Dinder, Armin, Adalexis, Bo, and Ironic all in position. That's basically battle for 11th that is going on between those 5 cars.
Yep, and that is for points, of course, for those who haven't been watching previous seasons and have forgotten the point system. There is points being scored all the way down to P20 in the race, so points on offer for a lot of these guys, and of course, the higher you finish, the more points you get. That makes sense. So Stom looking like he will be leading the championship as it stands. Of course, 1 bonus point as well, which we forgot to mention, for getting pole position. So indeed, as it stands, Storm actually has the only championship points of the season. But there shall be more at the end of this race.
Ubis brings his Audi in. It's a long stop for him. No fuel, no tyres, not surprising, and a pretty quick stop. Nothing major going on there. Maybe a tiny bit of damage, but nothing major. But something else to bear in mind. De Heidi, 28 seconds behind the leader. And we know that the leader hasn't been in yet. So still so much. And this is exactly why you shouldn't give up And then he says, despite how bad your race has gone, you just don't know what traffic the lead guys are going to come out into as well, especially with the pit lane so long. We're starting to see somebody else get into the 29s. It's this man, Speed Demon. He's just been through the pits, and now he's starting to get on with it. We're just seeing a 29.8 coming for him. Storm still maintaining 29s, so 29.9 last time around, as he's going to cross the line. Let's see what his last lap was. And it's going to be a 130.0 for him. Of course, Villalobos and Jardier still battling for that second spot. 30.1, 30.2 for the Z4 and Audi, respectively. Scott's the next man down the road of the Merc. He's 30.7. Zal in the Porsche, 30 dead. So he was actually quicker than those ahead of him. And then it's Zenny, a 30.1. And then, of course, this is the one that we're really keeping an eye on. It is a 29.5, so another half a second towards the sharp end for De Heide.
Certainly, De Heide is really flying every lap. I've looked at the times, pretty much he has been quicker than Storm and quicker than basically everyone else. Speed Demon as well in 8th, putting in a 29.5, so he's also flying, but De Heide is 7 seconds ahead of Speed Demon. Speed Demon was about 8-9 seconds off the lead when he pitted.
Yeah, that's going to be one to watch.
So that's got to be close between De Heide and Storm if he carries on like this. Of course, Storm still doesn't have to pit until, at latest, 16 laps from now, so he can stay out there for a long time. Still, one thing has been put out by Tidney last season's, the one-time race winner from last season, is that he noticed De Heide and Speed Demon using traction control. Obviously, the cars are allowed to use the assists that they have in real life. So for these GT3 cars, it is the ABS and traction control is actually allowed because they have that in real life. But they don't have to use it, so that's another thing that could differ from driver to driver. You know, in addition to setups, in addition to tactics, strategy, all these kind of things, they could also have slightly different assists as well.
Look at that, 3 beautiful Lambos.
Oh yes, I'm speechless.
As another thing also to bear in mind, a bit of history in PCARS 1. If memory serves, the Z4, if it wasn't the only one, it was certainly the most popular one, GT3 car that had stability control.
That is
memory serves. The others didn't.
Was it the Z4? Yeah, I think it was, wasn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, I think.
I could be right.
I'm about 60% certain the Z4 was the only GT3 that had stability control. Not the case in PCARS 2. It doesn't have stability control available. And really the top guys never need us to... Even I turn stability control off. And anyone that's seen any of my videos would know how bad I am. So, look at the flies in the front of Jardier's car. What you don't see is damage, though. And again, he has been within a second of Villalobos all race long. And Jardier getting into the 29s at some row. Starting to see the 29s creeping in now. Car's getting a bit lighter. So starting to see the 29s becoming a bit more of a regular feature throughout the field. Oh, is Nick Meadow in trouble? We just saw him lose a potential.
Oh, that's someone in trouble.
That's ironic, I think. Yes, ironic. He was in that 5-way battle for 11th and just suddenly saw some names swapping around. I thought it was Nick Meadow in trouble. It would seem that Ironics had trouble around between turn 2 and 4 and is probably staying out of the way of a lot of cars that were very, very closely back together at that stage. So, yeah, that's been very costly for the T2 champion.
Absolutely, yeah. It's not been a great Tier 1 debut for Ironic. He's still in the points, of course, but I'm sure he would have liked to be a little bit further up still. What I would have loved with this new mandatory pit stop format is if the graphics would tell us who had pitted and who hasn't. Because that's going to be hard to keep track of throughout the season. I am already noticing here.
Yeah, we're going to have to write it down, I think.
Yeah, I think we might have to. Obviously, we know that De Heide is the lead car down in 7th of those that have pitted. Zenny is the car ahead of him, and he is chasing Zal for what is currently P5. Yep.
I mean, there's, in case you wonder why I jumped to those in the pits, there's a few reasons for it. One, to kind of just see how long they stay there for, and the fact that he's ironic has had to sit there for a while tells you that he's had damage to contend with, whether it was an incident as a result rather of the incident we saw him being slow in, or as an earlier incident we of course don't know. But also, just in case there is a call for inquiries, the stream footage can be used to basically check who came in when. And Zenny has decided to bring his Audi in as well from 6th place. He was battling Zal. Is he going to have a particularly quick stop? It seems so. A little bit of damage on this car. Oh, that was very quick indeed.
But so, was that actually a tyre change? Or is that just what I do anyway?
No,
there was definitely a tyre flapping around next to the car with the animations.
Now, on my screen, I have a Porsche going utterly nuts on the
Oh! Wait, did I just see a Porsche upside down on the pit exit?
Yes, I'm trying to figure out who that is. Unfortunately, because we haven't figured out who's in what yet. But one of the Porsches has had a really bad day. I'm trying to figure out who it is.
Let's stay here. Let's see if we can. No, it's not there anymore.
So either it's someone that left the race a while ago. I think it is. I think it's actually someone that left the race a little while ago. This is actually Zenny. Try that again. Zenny on the back of Dinder S. Oh, the Mercedes going a little bit deep on the exit of 3A.
Oh. It's defending though.
He's still defending indeed. And right behind that's Bo and Alexis. So this is a battle for 10th now. It was a battle for 11th. But now battle for 10th position. The Mercedes leading the way. Oh, wow. I thought Zenny was getting very deep into that long turn 6, but manages to keep his car out of the exhaust pipe of the Merc ahead. And still they continue. And that just ahead of them is Van Ommen. So Van Ommen's not too far in front of this particular pack either. So if he makes a mistake, he'll be right in there as well.
Definitely is. And Van Ommen, another one we know how fast he is. He's Jardier's teammate, of course. They won the team championship in season 9. Those two together, they were stuck at it. They were, of course, in the Ferrari. They're now in the Audi. And yeah, as mentioned before, we'll get more back to the team championship next week when we actually know where they all stack up after the first round. But yeah, Zenny, he pitted from P5, P6, yes, P6, and he's come out in P11. And in the middle of a massive train. Here is Jardier, and he's still, oh, that's very close to the back of Villa-Lobos.
Villa-Lobos. You'll get that right. No, you'll get that right before the season ends.
I doubt it.
So yeah, their battle continues. It does look like the Audi's got a bit more pace than the Z4 at the moment. We'll see if that continues. Are they going to come in? Nope. The pit lane entrance is there, so it is a little awkward because you're coming off the racing line very quickly into the pit lane entry. So you can catch somebody out in that particular pack. I'm wanting to keep an eye on this particular battle here because this train is huge. There's Bo fighting off at Alexis as well. Looks like the Lambo trying to get an inside move on the exit of 6 doesn't quite make it happen. But I get the feeling that one mistake is going to really reshuffle this entire pack.
Yeah, it really is, isn't it? When they're all this close together, then any mistake is very costly indeed.
Oh, the dancing Porsche might have actually been Fab Iceman.
Oh. And of course, he's already out of the lobby, so yeah, that could be the case. His car just having a dance at the pit exit. Oh, is Bo going to look to the inside? He sort of swerved to the right a little bit before the braking zone, but he's still behind just about. Oh, Zenny actually bangs the wall a little bit on the exit of the hairpin. Yes. And again, going down the straight. Just a bit of a scraping there, and he's run wide as well, but he's cutting back. He's just taking a very different line from Bo there.
Yeah, I think that's just a choice of line. He's gone for a wider entrance a wider line through 1 to cut back to 2. It's a bit of an interesting one because there's not really any distance between where turn 1 kind of ends and where turn 2 begins, and it's uphill. So, yeah, a bit of an interesting one there. It could have been done either through not turning in early enough or maybe to throw Bo off. Jade's in!
Ooh, crucial moment.
Yes, from 3rd position. He's fed up of staring at the back of Villa-Lobos. We didn't see the champion have any damage, or we didn't see him involved in any incidents. Is he going to be in there a while? It does look like it. So maybe he's... Oh, no, he's away. So maybe he did have a little bit of a tap with someone. There's that dancing Porsche again, or it is on my screen. There he is.
Yeah, there it is. That's very... Yeah.
Well done. Well done, Iceman. Yeah, love the dance moves there, my friend. So where does Jardier appear? De Heidi is long since down the road. And he's going to come out. He's going to lose the position to Popsu.
It's
going to be close. There's Popsu, and there he goes.
Behind Popsu. His Season 9 rival is ahead of Jardier here. So the early pit stop has worked out for pretty much everyone at the moment in the race.
So.
Yeah. It's very interesting it did, because we don't think they're doing tire changes. We don't think they're, doing anything with the fuel. But yeah, the early pitters have all basically jumped ahead of whoever they pitted before.
De Heidi 25 seconds off the lead now, so he's still reeling Storm in. He's got Zal now for company. That is battle for position. That's for fourth. There he is in the green Porsche. You did see, I think we just saw Scott. We haven't really seen him for a while. There he is in the blue Mercedes. If we go on board with the Z4, do we see the Merc? No, not quite. That's not. Next car down the line isn't Scott, so trying to identify who that is. There's the pit lane exit on the left-hand side there. Oops, that's very deep there for Zal. He went in a little bit hot and locked up a little bit, trying to slow the car down. So that's going to, of course, help De Heidi get right in there. The GTE Endurance Champion rocked the Corvette in the last Endurance League, did De Heidi. I had great fun commentating on. Wow, just look how he slides that Z4. You've got to have real confidence in your car, because this is so easy. And I know out of experience, because I've done it many times, trying to slide the car and going well off into the dust. 29.0, nearly into the 28s for De Heidi. And Storm was a 31 last time around. So it's I wonder if Storm's just burned the best out of his tyres, perhaps. The tyres should last if they're on the harder tyres. And they have started earlier today. What a move by De Heidi. I think Zal just got too deep on that turn 6 hairpin. Didn't try and defend it from De Heidi. And through goes the Z4. Beautiful move. And onwards. Is that 2 Desert Pack they're catching up to? It is indeed. That's 23rd place Audi of 2 Desert Pack that De Heidi is catching. So 2 Desert Pack shouldn't hold up the charging Z4. Because De Heidi losing a little bit of time. Villalobos is in. So the sister Z4 has come in. Now, where is he going to appear against Jardier?
This is interesting because the chat is pointing out that Jardier had to fix a little bit of engine damage. That's why he had a slightly longer pit stop to what is normal.
Zal is in as well. So we saw him really struggling with his car. So he has opted for now to bring his car in. This is lap 26. How long is Villalobos going to be there? Similar length of time, I think. I think it was a little quicker, actually. The Jardier, where is the 8th place Audi? He's coming around the hairpin now. Villalobos is getting to the end. It's going to be close. It's going to be close. Popsu. Oh, he's beaten Popsu out. That was great timing then by Villalobos. He's managed to get ahead of Popsu and given himself a 3-second cushion against Jardier.
Wow, fantastic stuff from him. And so Jardier lost about 3 seconds then from taking the engine repairs. Of course, when I said he needed to take them, of course he could have chosen to untick the option to take the engine repairs, but either he just wanted to take it or he just forgot to turn it off. I'm not sure. But either way, Jardier's definitely lost out here to both Villalobos and Popsu and Speed Demon, who is well clear of all of these. He's been also running superb pace after his pit stop, just like De Heidi has. And I think Storm, Storm is... I don't know if Storm actually is aware of the gap to De Heidi. Maybe it's now that De Heidi is closer to him in terms of position. Maybe he sort of can see him on his overlays and whatnot.
But he would only have been aware of him from the point he was in 4th, because Storm, of course, being in the lead. So he wouldn't have known he wouldn't have known how quickly De Heidi was just whittling away that lead. And of course, he doesn't know unless he's heard it over Discord. He won't know who's been in the pits already.
Definitely, and so Storm might be in for a bit of a shock actually when he comes back out and. Potentially finds De Heidi ahead.
Scott running in second, so he's having a pretty good run. I believe he has to come through the pits as well. There is the Z4 we've been keeping an eye on. That's 2 Desert Pack. He has indeed gotten out of the way. Very nicely done. As De Heidi roars that mighty Z4. I say mighty Z4, it's actually smaller than the rest of the GT3, so I don't want to say little Z4 because that sounds so disingenuous.
Tiny Z4.
Speed Demon. Again, T1 debutant. In 4th position, holding his own pretty well. Villalobos in the next Z4. He was being chased by one Audi, who's actually, I think Jardier has actually fallen away a little bit from this particular battle. He was fending off one Audi, he's now fending off a different one in the form of Popsu. The amount of time it was Popsu and Jardier battling on, this will be quite a nice little moment. They may not be fighting for the lead, but Popsu will, I'm sure, be smiling at the fact that Jardier is behind him.
Yeah, of course. He had to, take the short end of the stick a lot of times last season in the close battles between himself and Jardier, and even though most of them were for the win, and this is not, I'm sure, as you said, he will be pleased with that. But his focus now is on Villalobos.
Very much so. Very much so. Losing over the line, 130s last time around. Of course, as one defends, the other tries to attack. Oh, Villalobos, whether that's a different line or he's just a little bit hesitant coming through too. And allow Popsu just to stay in touch with him. Jardier was a little bit quicker, about 4 tenths or so quicker, so he's still got the pace in his Audi. The top 4 in the 29s now. As I said earlier, now the cars are getting a bit lighter. Starting to see the 29s. We'll see 28, I'm sure, creeping in before long. So there's a lot of pace still out there. Battle here as well. 9th position, that's Van Ommen. And Dinder S. Oops. Dinder S was in quite a few seasons ago. I seem to... His name is ringing a bell from quite a few seasons back.
He used to be Karki's teammate, of course, Karki being the one of the old champions of the league. As Scott comes into the pits from second, we'll be interested to see where he pops out. He hasn't seen most of the field for a while. Or the rest of the field for a while. Yeah, Dinder S returning to the league. He hasn't raced in this league on Project Cars 2, but he did some seasons on Project Cars 1.
I thought I recognised this from when... That was even before I started commentating for AOR. Because I seem to remember seeing... I knew I'd seen his name in relation to your commentary, which would be from the Elite League of bygone eras, so to speak. 28.9 for De Heidi last time around, and he's quicker still. So he's consistent, but he is very, very fast. Speed Demon, now up to 3rd. He's keeping on. He's 29.6 last time around and looking quicker this time. Scott has been to the 4th.
He's ahead of Villalobos, who was running 2nd. Yeah. He's ahead of Popsu. He's ahead of Jardier.
He is indeed. That is the battle now for 3rd place, with Popsu piling on the pressure to Villalobos. Villalobos has just done nothing but defend all race long. Oh, Popsu, you were very nearly pushing the Z4 down the hill. Storm is in. Now this is going to be the all-crucial one. Where will that silver Audi that has led all race long come out of the pits? Where is De Heidi? There he is, coming through the last of the S's through turn 10. Does Storm have... No, Storm is straight back on the case as he's coming up to Iceman's Dancing Porsche. This is going to be close. De Heidi through the last turn. Where is Storm? Storm's still got a lot of pit lane to do. And De Heidi, he's going to take the lead. He's just taken the lead. The Z4 is now your new race leader, and now Storm gets on the gas, but he is quite a way down from De Heidi. He's waiting for the capture update. 5.5 seconds at the point that Storm comes out. That's not Speed Demon behind him. That's 2 Desert Pack already behind him. So yeah, look at because of De Heidi's incredible pace for so long, it's given him. It's now 6-second lead.
Wow. That's a bigger lead than I would have thought he would have, actually. Despite De Heidi running consistently faster laps, consistently, the fastest on track ever since he pitted on lap 3. So it's just incredible, really, the pace he's been running. He was down in 6th place. I mean, he started 4th. He dropped 2 positions on the first lap. You thought that, he maybe wasn't going to have the greatest debut in this league, but then he went straight in the pits. One of the 5 or so cars that pitted on the first possible opportunity on lap 3. And here we are then.
Wow.
He's been running fantastic pace. He's managed to face minimal problems in terms of traffic, in terms of getting past whatever cars he's faced, and a 6.5 second gap to the man who's been leading, the man who took pole position and who has been leading the race all the way until now. Fantastic debut race it is looking on for Hereford Heidi.
Very nicely done. So he comes over the line, 29.1, and he did get caught with a back marker through the S's as well, and he's got a lot of clear track ahead of him. Looking at the map as well, you see the arrow on the map. He's just coming up to turn 3, and the next blue dot down the road is the next person he's going to have to work a way past, and that's quite a way down the road. So that is a lot of open road for Heidi to deal with. There is Storm, now 6.5 behind. 138.5, but of course it's an outlap for Storm. He's got to get on with it, and he's got to get on with it now, as we have 9 laps remaining of this particular race. He doesn't have time on his side anymore to try and, well, what was keeping the lead, he's now got to regain it. There is Speed Demon. He's actually only 2 seconds off the back of Storm. So and it was a 29.4, so a decent lap time for Speed Demon last time. So if he can get on with it, if he can close that gap down, he could well pressure for that second place. Scott in the Mercedes with that great pit stop is now 2.3 ahead of Villalobos. Villalobos has actually broken away from Popsu, who's lost the place to Jardier. Oh. He's had a 35 last time. Popsu made a mistake last lap. I'm sure Popsu's really fed. Oh, and that's not Jardier running wide. That's one of the Lambos getting out of the way. Is that ironic? Yep, it is indeed ironic, whose debut race this season has not gone well. He's down in 20th, unfortunately. Jardier leads Popsy by 2.5 seconds now, but he has not really closed in enough from Villalobos to start challenging for him again, but he was stuck behind that Z4 for so long. Yeah, he's going to have to really work out a way to get through. There's an impressive fly collection on the front of that Audi. So there's still battling going on through the field, though. There is Dinderes still on the back of Van Orman. Project Cars veteran against a front runner from last season. And Van Orman is not far on the back of Zal there. You saw the green Porsche go through the shot. Battle here. Whoa! Just as I cut to it is Zenny in the Stereo Witch, and Zenny bounces off the wall again.
He loves that wall.
Yeah, he's wanted to paint it quite a lot in that orange and blue colouring as the black Lamborghini of Mr. Rich flies through. And I'm getting a mark on Jardier. He's starting to get towards Villalobos. He reeled in about 2/10, just shy of last time. So we'll see then if in the next 8 laps he is able to start pushing for that position. And Heidi doesn't have to push too hard, although 28.9, he is getting into the 28s now, is the TX3 veteran. I think it's going to take a mistake or a back marker to upset the Heidi's rhythm at the moment.
Yeah, certainly is. He's been looking menacing ever since he got that clean air. And it's so important as well, I think, around Sonoma, the pit strategy, having a fast pit stop, getting track position, and getting as little traffic as possible is even more crucial around a track like this than a lot of the other tracks, because it's such a hard one to overtake as well.
Yeah, I mean, only really there's only 2 really heavy braking zones into that turn 11, that tight hairpin, handed to turn 7 after the long left-hander. There you see Villalobos just going out of the shot. That's less than a second between the two. That's a half a second. Jardier closed in on the Z4. So they will cross swords then in the final few laps. Storm getting into the 28s now. So he's not giving up on that lead. He's got 6 seconds between himself and De Heidi. He's not going to be able to do it on pace alone. He will have to rely on a mistake from those ahead. Bo looks like he's catching up with the battle of, there you just see it, Dinderes and Van Orman. So that little train's going to gain another Mercedes on the back of it. Nesterowicz and Zenny still have their fight. That is for 12th place, of which the Lambo currently leads. And there is... Oh, Gibbs. Yes, of course. I've just realised how you actually say that name. Now I feel like a complete fool. In the Audi, he's chasing Hunter. Although Hunter's got a little bit of lead time on the Audi. They come through that turn 16. Everyone else is fairly well spaced out, but still battling going on. Jardier is now less than half a second off the back of Villalobos. He is finding his rhythm again in that Audi, but that is not the position we are used to seeing the Season 9 champion in.
Certainly not. Maybe go with a lap on his roof, perhaps, to sort of see the way he's pushing against Villalobos, and he's obviously seen this site for a long time in this race.
You draw it from memory by now.
Yeah, exactly. Last season, he didn't have too many laps where he had to actually look at the back of a car, because he was usually leading. And
it was only ever Popsu that he was staring at the back of.
Yeah. So, yeah, certainly it looks like a lot of the new guys coming in for this season are also at that sort of alien level of pace, which is what we like to see, of course, in the top.
Great for us.
Tier of AOR. Yeah, great for us when all of these guys are very close. I mean, when you got Jardier, the way how fast we know he is after last season. Oh, that's very close. Villalobos has left the door open slightly. There's a little bit of touching there even. Ah, but Villalobos just had the momentum on that second apex. For Jardier to not be able to get through, even though he was trying to force that gap on the inside, but he just didn't manage to keep enough speed on that tighter line he had to take. As they're now coming out to a back marker though, so let's see if this will play into the hands of any of them. No, he moves out of the way for both of them at the same time. No problems there for either driver to get through, as Jardier is braking very late, very heavily, but Villalobos parking that Z4 right on the apex. No chance for Jardier to do anything at all, and he's gonna have to sit behind at the start of yet another lap.
He is indeed, and that contact at turn 7, Jardier did the right thing. He went for the gap that Villalobos had left. Villalobos and the Z4 had braked too late, or just simply gone too deep. But Jardier, he knew he'd made the impact, and then just allowed Villalobos to get back into his rhythm. So absolutely the correct thing to do. But their battling is allowing Popsu. There he is in the red Audi behind. He is closing in. 5 laps remain. Here at Sonoma, it is definitely possible for Popsu to close that gap down. So the red Audi could well join the back of this particular battle as well. 29.4 last time for Popsu. Yet he gained 9 tenths last time around to Heidi 29 flat, Storm 29.2, and Speed Demon 29.1, the top 3. So they still have very, very impressive pace. Of course, as the fuel level burns off, the tyres will be starting to struggle a little, but nothing that these drivers can't handle. I mean, the other series that we see these guys in just shows how experienced a lot of these drivers are. Not just here in AOR, but in various other racing series. I commentate on Jardier elsewhere as well. So, yeah, a lot of these guys have an incredible amount of experience. I mean, a lot of these could probably drive these tyres on rubber bands.
Yeah. It's, yeah, some of these drivers, I just don't understand how they do it, really. It's a really top level of racing. These guys are all fantastic drivers on Podcast 2 in particular. I'm sure a lot of them have experience from other racing games as well, and driving at a really, really high level. It's yeah, you know, for most seasons there's an argument to be had as to whether it's the best driver lineup ever in the league, and I think, you know, you'd have a fair argument as well this season, I think.
Well, if this is anything to go by, this season should be an absolute cracker. Just seeing the stereo, which was closing in on Zenny, although it was a little bit scrappy coming through turns 1 and 2. So there could well be a battle as this race draws to a close. Bo is still on the back of Van Ommen. That's for 9th place. Dinderes was actually in there. He's fallen behind the white Merc. So Dinderes has made a mistake somewhere. It wasn't last time around because he had 29.5 on the lap count last time. There he is. You just seen him going through in the silver Mercedes. So he fell off the way somewhere, but is still in contention for picking up a few more spots
I have to say, Bo is doing a very impressive job in this race. In the top 10 on his debut in T1, he finished 7th, I think, in the second tier last season. So he's sort of the guy with the least momentum, I guess we can say, out of the 4 drivers that moved up directly from Tier 2 last season. But he is, I think he's the one doing the best out of the. No, actually, Scott is up in 4th. Actually, yeah, he's doing even way better. But yeah, Bo as well in the top 10, having a great debut in this thing.
And both of them sporting Mercedes as well. So there's pace to be found in the other cars, which is also nice to see. Again, coming back to the point that we made earlier, where the Ferraris just ran off with all the honours for Elite last season. We're seeing that the various different cars, or certainly the Merc and the Audi and the BMW, primarily are the ones that are able to clock up the laps. We haven't seen the Porsche or the Lamborghini do quite so well here, but this is quite a twisty track, and with the track lineup we've got in this season, it's plenty of opportunity for other marques to shine.
Yep, certainly. I'm always rooting a little bit for the Lambos. It's not been the best start of the season in that sense, but I'm sure they'll bounce back at some point later in the season. As we are still watching Jaria at the back of Villalobos. We have just 2 laps to go in the race. I believe, and no, actually, Dihadi has already started. Yeah, he's on 39, yeah, exactly. So with this one, we are 2 laps from the end of the race, and Dihadi's only extended his gap down to Storm since Storm made his pit stop. It's only about half a second more than it was, but Storm is not getting any closer, even though his previous lap time was a 10th faster than Dihadi. So this is the man who has been on the pace in this race. Even if qualifying didn't work out, even if the first lap didn't work out, the rest of the race after his pit stop certainly has worked out to perfection for him. Storm still a couple of seconds ahead of Speed Demon. And then there's a big gap, 15 seconds from Speed Demon in 3rd, down to Scott, who wasn't Scott behind Villalobos, Jadia, Popsy, all of those guys before the pit stop. So
I think he was. He had he basically had no damage to repair, so he just stopped and went straight away. Of course, it counts because his car came to a complete rest. He had no work to do, no fuel, no tyres, and just legged it. And that made all the difference, as pretty much everybody else behind him had something they had to do to their car in order to then come back onto track. So that has granted Scott that. And you've got to also remember how early Heidi came through the pits. I mean, was it what did you say it was earlier? Lap 4 or something?
Lap 3, so well. Lap 2 that you actually raced on, because lap 1 is essentially a formation lap. So with that in mind, lap 3 is the first lap you actually can go into the pits. So the second racing lap. That's when he went straight in. So and it's worked out for him.
Final lap here at Sonoma. It was primarily led by Storm from the front row, from pole position indeed. To Heidi now leads by 7 seconds through turn 7 into the twisty section once more for the final time. He will, unless he throws it into the pit wall, that is a pretty assured victory for him. You can see on the map how far back 7.2 seconds is in realistic terms. And here he comes through turn 10. He's already staying away from the pit wall. He doesn't want to risk anything. Through turn 11. Your winner then, here in Sonoma. Just starting. He's already having a bit of a wiggle. Careful. The pit straight's not straight, but there it is. It is to Heidi, and then throws it into the wall. Brilliantly done. Storm in the Audi is going to bring home the second spot on the podium with Speed Demon. Very nicely done. Coming home in 3rd. The lead Merc of Scott is going to take that 4th spot with that chasing pack. Pops, who did actually close in a little bit. Oh, and look at Chartier. He was determined to do something about that Z4 as Popsy bounces off the wall. Scott is going to take 4th. Villalobos just managed to defend off Jardier for 5. A big one. Villalobos 5, Jardier 6, Popsy 7. And then it's Zal is going to take 8th position. Of course, have a few cars out. Oh! Van Ommer's had a problem!
Oh, is he out of fuel?
I don't know. The race complete. Yes, he's out of fuel. The race complete thing is actually covering the speedos.
Yeah.
Oh, Van Orman on the final lap's run out of fuel. Oh no, he went for a lighter fuel load in there.
Was he on the lead lap?
Yes, he would. Yes, I think he would have been.
So he will stay ahead of the guys that have been lapped, if that is the case.
Oh, as people are having fun there. Oh, Van Orman. Well, I've actually lost him. Where is he gone? What? That's a flying Porsche.
I think it is a bit. But
Oh,
this
yeah,
is a
he's
nice
gone.
clump of cars after the finish line going on.
But because I don't know exactly, because he's left the server. He won't be actually be on this list. So I'm not sure how that's going to pan out. But there it is. Your final finish positions to Heidi, Storm, Speed Demon. Great effort for the debutants, 3rd and 4th, with Speed Demon and Scott, Villalobos, Jardier, Popsy, Zalbo, and Zenny rounds out the top 10. Nesterovic, Adalexis, Hunter, Dinderes, Gibbs, Nick Meadow, Leon the Sick One, Yuhan, Ironic, Berserker, 2 Deserback, Steve. Van Orman's actually listed there as 23rd on my screen. But he was on the lead lap, so he will elevate beyond those. At least that's he should at least 19th, go ahead.
Yeah, I think it should be 19th in that case, because top 18 were all on the lead lap, from what I'm seeing.
And it was indeed Fab Iceman who retired early on. It was his dancing Porsche. We saw it in the pit lane.
Indeed, and then we of course lost Nigrom, unfortunately, to I think his PC crashed earlier in the race, and I think we had 26, so we lost another one as well.
We did, but I was never going to remember who that was.
Nope, that is impossible. So, that was the first race. That was a lot of fun. 20 drivers with some points on the board, but the man with most points on the board is Mr. G. Heidi, indeed.
You forgot.
Really? Not quite.
Wow. And in the Z4 as well.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. It's surprising to see the Z4 in P1. I have to say, we haven't seen the Z4 up there really since Project Cars 1, but now.
Yeah, I was going to say it's been in PCAS 2 it just hasn't been
much because of the Ferrari having sort of dominated the first 2 seasons of this game, but Z4 being the first car to sort of take advantage after the Ferrari era. I didn't expect that one.
No, nor I. I mean Audi 2 and 3, so that was where the sensible money was going to be. But what a race! That was Graham again with the mandatory stop in there. Of course, catching Van Orman out on the last lap. I'm sure he's pretty sick, because that again dropped him down quite a way.
Certainly, it's the mandatory pit stop certainly made things. It gave the race a different dynamic, I think it's fair to say, compared to last season. It's even maybe we missed out on a little bit of on-track battling. We certainly got a lot more strategy elements. We got a lot of more uncertainty. We didn't really know what was the status with everyone until all the pit stops had shaken out towards the end of the race. So
I think that's more the track though, because the track doesn't lend itself for massive overtaking opportunities.
Definitely.
I think different tracks will encourage that more. I don't really believe that that's down to the drivers or the cars or even the pit stop element. I think that is more down to the track, but we will see when we return next week.
Indeed. So hopefully we might be able to get a few interviews going. I see that Jardier already wants to talk to us. It would be great to get a word with the Heidi, being the race winner and all. He doesn't seem to be. No. Unfortunately.
Both of us.
Storm though, perhaps.
Storm, I'm sure it just knows. I will message him, see if he wants to talk to us.
Okay, good. He's the vice winner of this race.
Well, if we grab over Jardier, we'll have a word with him.
Yep, I can do that right now. So, let's welcome to the commentary box the reigning champion.
Am I the only one here? What the hell?
Hello! Yeah, you're the only one who likes us, apparently.
Well, I wanted to say some bad words, but okay. Hey guys, long time no see.
Hey!
Does it still count? Can I be here if I was like almost last?
You put yourself in the ready to interview box, so we'll speak to anybody that puts themselves there.
So then, Jadir, obviously coming in as the reigning champion, you dominated quite a few of the races last season. Now you had to stare at the back of some cars for the whole race, especially that was the Z4 that was sitting ahead of you.
Oh yeah. It was, as you said, it's a different. But I really, when I seen the starting list, I was entirely sure this season is gonna have the best drivers. The top 8, even top 10 are the like really top drivers from PG cars. I can guarantee you that. And as you could see in the race, everybody was almost on the same pace. And on this racetrack, you have so little room to overtake that it's entirely impossible if the guy is like smart for racing. And that's exactly what happened to me. The guy in front of me in the first stint, I had no chance to overtake him because he was like very safe. And also in the second stint, for last few laps, he was just doing what he should have do. He was just paying attention on the insides and everything, and I had no chance. And I also lost a lot of time in the pit. I really need to watch the replay of the other guys to see where I lost. But the one thing I forgot was that I had they fixed my damage on the engine, so I lost like 7 or 8 seconds. So that probably cost me at least the podium, maybe.
Yeah, someone pointed out on the chat that you did some engine repairs there, which you certainly lost out a lot. It looked like from the pit stop. I mean, it was clear that he was pushing really hard to get past. So that said, and maybe with a normal pit stop, you would have been ahead of him.
Definitely, I need to improve the setup because the storm pace and other guys were amazing, and I really don't understand where Heidi found like 45 seconds or something. Because after like 3 laps, he was like 10 seconds behind me.
Yeah, he obviously pitted at the end of lap 3. He pitted at the earliest possible moment he could. And he was flying. He was the fastest man on track after that. So.
I know. He was doing 29.0.
Do you think that kind of comes down to Sonoma possibly suiting the characteristics of the Z4 maybe a little bit better than the Audi?
I think maybe, of course, Heidi is super fast. There's no denying that, but I can really guarantee that I think Z4 was, I don't know, when I tried a Z4, I couldn't like found the right setup for it, but definitely it was car who was really steering well. And with the hard tires for the Audi, I had a lot of problems like with the understeer and oversteer, like crazy combination. So I think maybe the BMW suit as well, or maybe the guys really prepared their setups well. Awesome. So yeah, maybe Fisty will give me some ideas how to improve.
Oh, me? Me giving setup tips? That's a very optimistic thought.
Awesome.
It's good to have you back though. It's not been every season in this league where the champion is returning to defend his title, so that's good to see.
Yeah, that's true.
I can't say if I'm defending. I really I don't think about it. I really don't think about it, but I really wanted to join when I seen the competition, because the competition is something that pushes you forward, and it's the most important thing for me to have a good competition. Yeah. And even that I am not winning, I don't care much because I really wanna like fight those guys. I wanna improve and I wanna push more and more.
Yeah, absolutely. Can totally see that. And either way, it's good to have you back, man. And I'm looking forward to seeing you in more battles for the rest of the season.
Yeah. Thank you, guys. See ya.
All right, see you later.
We have another couple of people wanting to talk to us. 40 Storm has declined the offer for an interview, which is absolutely fine. It's not mandatory. We have got Nesterowicz and Scott wanting to have a word.
Okay, let's grab those for a quick one in that case. Looks like our podium men are not too interested in talking at the moment. They are off celebrating with their champagne and everything. Heidi in the chat though. Well done, Heidi, on your win. But yeah, let's grab Nesterowicz and Scott. Okay, you just done it.
Hello, gentlemen. Welcome to the commentary box.
Yeah, you all right?
Hello.
Yes, hello to you. Right. Nesterowicz. That's a bit of a... you're riding a different beast this time from last season. You had quite a 20th to 11th. That's quite an impressive recovery drive. Quali not go your way, I understand.
Yeah, correct. but it was fun. The quality, I was actually surprised about the temperature. So yeah, I had a different setup for that one. That's why. And P20 to P11, I love the pace. I love the track. But yeah, funny with the Lambo.
Awesome stuff. Awesome stuff. And Scott, welcome to the commentary box and also to Tier 1. What a debut race for you.
Yeah, I must admit, I'm shocked that I got 4th place. I'm happy with 4th, to be honest with you.
Beautiful in that big old Mercedes. Did that kind of feel quite heavy at Sonoma, or you were clearly quite at ease with it? I mean, you it didn't look like you had any issues to deal with when you came in for your stop. You came in for the pit stop, stopped for about half a second, and then legged it again. So wasn't any damage, I assume, to deal with. So did the Mercedes kind of feel heavy or tricky to deal with, or was everything to your liking?
Well, at the start, I probably would have liked to warm up tyres a bit more. It probably took about 8 laps for me to finally get a good rhythm in the Merc. It was a lot of understeer at the beginning, but I think I still overtook 2-3 places in the first lap. So yeah, pretty happy with that. Although I did find that the car was just starting to fall off, and the 5th and 6th was actually starting to catch me just slightly.
Awesome.
But yeah, I'm just happy with the 4th place, to be honest with you. So I think I went in the pits perfect time, because I think I jumped two people as well. Not too sure, but yeah.
You did indeed.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah, fantastic debut, and that's good to see. And yeah, with you as well. I'm looking forward to see how you get on throughout the season. And props to you, Nazarovich, for taking the Lambo. Always, the more Lambos, the better, in my opinion.
Last season I was crying with the Audi being outpaced with the other cars, so I had to try something different, even though I love the Audi. So maybe season 11.
Fair enough. Alright, well, cheers for joining us, guys, and good luck with the coming races.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Okie dokie. And with that, I think it is time to end the broadcast. Thanks to everyone who has been following this season opener for AOR PC GT3 Season 10, the top tier. It's a fantastic grid of drivers we have to look at this season, as Jodier's already pointed out. The reigning champion only finishing in P6. Slightly slow pit stop, but still, you know, it shows that the competition is absolutely up there, and it will be really interesting to see how it carries on going forward. There is going to be 9 more races, and actually, before we end, I'm going to quickly bring up the calendar to just give you an idea of what races we have in store coming up. Next track is interesting, Ruapuna GP. I have never seen a race at that particular circuit.
Neither have I. I have driven it on my various daft challenges, but never actually commentated there, so that's going to be interesting. It's very tight. It's a very narrow circuit, and it's so easy to make a mistake, and there's a fair few runoff areas, which is something Sonoma doesn't have in particular abundance in most places. So you can run off, but if you do, you are losing a whole bucket load of time.
Yeah.
So it's a very, very challenging circuit. So yeah, that's going to be fabulous.
That's going to be interesting indeed. I'm looking forward to learning a new track first and foremost, and then seeing this drivers do battle around Ruapuna. Of course, we have more it's, you know, good variety on the list. After that, we go into Indianapolis, which is the opposite of a narrow track. So and that is the first of those an hour and a half long races, with the grid order decided by the reverse championship order. So
and it's in the dark.
Exactly, in the middle of the night as well. So round 3 and round 7 are ones to look out for that. Round 7 being at Catalonia. And then we're going to such tracks as Sugo, which I've also never seen a race on. We're returning to Brno, which we had a lot of races on in the past. One of my favorite tracks to watch the GT3s do battle. And ending the season on 22nd of August at Watkins Glen. So a lot to look forward to, and hopefully we will see a lot more action as we have seen today around the coming 9 races. So I've been Fizzy, and as usual, King-Kodiak, it's been a pleasure having you along in the box.
Always a pleasure, never a chore to share this commentary box with you, good sir. And thank you for those that have been with us throughout the stream. Always a pleasure to have you guys on board as well. And indeed, we will be back next week for Rupuna, but there's going to be plenty more AOR action in between then and now.
Absolutely. We've got... what do we got? We got iRacing on Friday, we got R Factor on Saturday, we got F1 2017 on Sunday, so stick around on the AOR channel for more, and of course next Wednesday we will be back with round 2 of the GT3 League, so tune in for that as well next week. But thanks for watching everyone, we will see you later, and good night.
Good night.